Imagine there's something in your food you don't know about. Imagine you can neither see it nor taste it. It harms your health and the health of your friends and family. "90% of all food products in the United States are genetically modified. The consequences are unknown." Imagine a group of dedicated people wants to tell everybody about this, and therefore walks from New York City to Washington, D.C. Imagine all this is reality. From October 1st to October 16th, 2011, a group of dedicated people marched over 300 miles from New York City to Washington, D.C. in order to demand labeling for genetically modified foods. With colorful balloons on American highways, 300 miles from New York to Washington, D.C. What motivates these people to undertake such a march? The answer is simple. These dedicated people want to know what is in their food. Or more specifically, they want to know if their food is genetically modified. Therefore, they demand a label for all products that contain genetically modified foods. But what exactly does genetically modified mean? David Bronner, one of the organizers of the march, explains the background.
Well, we are very concerned about the increasing use of genetic engineering of our food. Genetic engineering is where you splice DNA from different species, a bacteria, a virus, or some other plant or animal into a crop. Generally to enable more weed killer to get dumped on the crop, which is polluting the land, creates more weed killer residues. And then the compound itself in the plant that does that is a novel compound. And we have a surge of food allergies in this country and around the world that parallels the rise of GMOs. So GMOs is basically chemical agriculture at its worst. And basically what's clear is that if we don't do something and get labeling, every single animal and vegetable with any significant market size is going to be genetically engineered. We're not going to have the right to know it. And we're just going to be eating all these crazy foods. And who knows what kind of health effects over the next decade, 2 decades. Right, it's just this huge experiment on the American population, because the pesticide industry, Monsanto, they basically bought the seed industry and are engineering resistance to the chemicals, so we can then sell more and spray more chemicals. And that's the thing, is even if you disagree, even if you think GMOs are just the best thing ever, and okay, great, we'll label it, be proud of it, label it, go buy your genetically engineered food, and you know which one it is, so you can go buy it, right? So everyone should be in favor of right to know.
States, there's now a trend that when you have an issue that you want to draw attention to, you walk in groups. Sometimes it's large groups, sometimes it's small groups. So people are getting familiar with the fact that if they see a group of people, you know, with the same colored t-shirts or balloons or things like that, that there's an issue that those people are really concerned about, and that they are come together to like raise awareness. So this march, which of course was you know, really modeled after what Joseph Wilhelm had done in Germany, it's not unusual for the U.S. But what's unusual is that it's the length of the march, which is from New York to Washington, D.C.
Joseph Wilhelm is the man who had the idea for this march. He has been promoting high-quality organic and healthy foods for decades. Back in 1974, he founded the German company Rapunzel Organic Foods. Rapunzel produces only organic and non-GMO foods. Today, there are more than 450 different Rapunzel products available in health food stores. In 2007 and 2009, Joseph organized marches for a GMO-free world that led him and his co-marchers all the way from Lübeck in northern Germany to Lindau on Lake Constance in the south, and from the capital of Berlin to Brussels, the seat of the European Parliament in Belgium, a total of about 1,370 miles. During these marches, more than 130,000 signatures for GMO-free agriculture were collected. Now, Joseph has taken the journey from Germany to America. The United States is the country where most of the genetically modified seeds are grown. So for Joseph, it was a logical choice to launch the third march in the United States with the help of his American friends.
No to GMO, yes we can!
Yeah!
No to GMO, yes we can, Mr. Obama! Keep in your promises, thank you!
Before the march, Joseph Wilhelm had an appointment with the United Nations in New York City. In his role as a representative of IFOAM, the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, he delivered a statement on behalf of the stakeholders of the organic movement and concerned citizens around the world, urging the United Nations to commit all countries to identify and label genetically modified foods.
We, the organizers of the march, what we really wanted to try to do is go to places where people might not know what GMOs were, what genetic engineering is, and really use the banner that, you know, we want the right to know, and that everyone should have the right to know about what's in their food. They can choose it if they'd like, but they should at least have an opportunity to know what it is. So to do that, we have to walk through pretty unusual areas. So even though it may be odd that we're walking along highways and past shopping malls, in the United States, that's where everybody is. They're not in other places. It's nice that we're also walking through some neighborhoods, and it's really nice that we're walking through some urban areas, because that's also another side of the U.S., and people forget that those people in urban areas that are very poor also have the same rights as everyone else, and that they even sometimes are more concerned than middle class or the, you know, sort of comfortable suburban sections of our country. So I'm hoping that it has the impact that we want it to have, and that people are at least curious about what it is that we're doing, and especially that when we get to Washington, there'll be a large group of people that come together and really spread the message about labeling of genetically engineered food.
I've seen a hummingbird sitting on a rose. I've seen a butterfly kiss a child's nose. I've worked in the garden, felt dirt between my toes. I like to live an organic life, not one with GMOs. So we don't want your GMOs, we don't want your beans. We want to grow our food with unaltered genes. And we're gonna love it, 'cause that's what we do best. So if you take your GMOs, we'll take all the rest. Now I've been over the hill, I'm outstanding in the field. You try to hide the truth, but the dangers are revealed. So I will take a stand, and we all stand steady. We don't want...
Hey, how about one more time and go like this, as loud as you can, say 3 times. No more GMOs! No more GMOs! No more!
16 days after the start in New York City and about 300 miles later, the group reached Washington, D.C. The White House. The marchers arrive at their ultimate goal. And prominent support is already waiting. Vandana Shiva, laureate of the Right Livelihood Award from India, has come to show her support for the activists.
Because if we aren't even free to decide what we'll eat, what we'll grow, to know what's in our food, how are we free in any other way? Because it's our food that shapes every cell of our body, every bit of our organs, and at least the elder women in my country say it shapes our thinking too. You eat bad food, you have bad thinking. You eat good food, your mind works fresh, creative, beautiful.
Imagine there is something in your food you don't know about. Imagine you can neither see it nor taste it. It harms your health and the health of your friends and family. Imagine a group of dedicated people wants to tell everybody about this and therefore walks from New York City to Washington, D.C. Imagine that people listen to this message and tell it to others. They stand up and demand their right to information.
We have a right to know! We have a right to know!
Imagine that there is a world without genetically modified foods. And now, imagine that you've helped to create this world.